Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima. How are you doing?
Good morning, Miriam.
I love your outfit.
Thank you.
I think it's beautiful.
Thank you so much. I messed up on Saturday. It was my mentee's wedding. And it was all the way in Songo. And my husband, as we were getting ready to leave, I had a flat tire. When he was done fixing the tire, he said, "You see Lagos traffic plus tire, I'm not doing." So I had to stay back. But it was a working weekend for me because I have a small business I do at home and it takes all of my weekend. So happy wedding. Happy married life, Rama. I love you so much and I wish you all the best. These girls are sweet as and become family.
Hi, Mariam. We'll come back to your shout-out. Your shout-out.
No, this one is in-house. So, okay. You know, I am Salam Doja, Ade Doja, Adeni. Salam Adeni.
Today's her birthday.
It's her birthday today. Please, happy birthday. And I wish she was here. Because I saw her eating in the car that day and I know she should have brought something
Happy
for
birthday
us.
to Elijah.
Happy birthday.
Elijah did the fabulous documentary on
Yes.
the COVID-19. She went into the wards twice. The second one we didn't really get, but we didn't have full access. But the second time, she had full access, and I mean that video actually.
That video.
They played it in my church. They played it in everywhere I could find. I mean, it was very profound.
For a lot of people, the kind of advocacy YK talks about on COVID was what that second video did.
Yes.
A lot of people now, you know, sort of saw how difficult it was to breathe and what people were going through. So,
and how costly oxygen was.
Yes.
Let me come to Heidi, Mariam. I love the blue. You and I, twinning blue today.
And my hair as well.
Yes.
It was a bit, it took like some strength to wear my hair like this. You know, I have some insecurity about my angular facial features.
Oh, really?
Now everybody
never knew that.
You know, women are supposed
It's so beautiful.
described to have like maybe soft facial features, but I have angular, so I'm not always comfortable to show my features.
How the light was when we were younger. See how beautiful it looks.
Thank you. So when I said this year I want to just do mostly African Nigerian hairstyles, so we'll see how it goes.
For that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's the beginning of another new month, and I have to talk about our vultures again.
Yes.
We know that everything, every human being, every species, every animal plays an important role in our environment, and vultures play a role as well. So we need to save our vultures. Don't kill the vultures. Don't eat vultures. Don't do jazz with vultures. You know, save them because they keep our environment safe. The ecosystem, they balance. Yes, they make sure that they keep the balance in the ecosystem. Because without them, all these diseases, the pandemics, that's what happens. So please save vultures. Thank you.
So for me, over the weekend, I had a family invited me over for myself and my husband yesterday. It was really nice. Thank you very much for having us, Janet. And we had fun. It was a nice food, great food. Rivera Suites, we went there. Lots of grilled food. I like food. You know, prawns. We did take pictures. But the conversation was great. You know, when you're having conversation, totally forgot to take pictures. But yeah, maybe next time we'll take pictures. But thank you very much for having us.
It's also good sometimes to just have a nice time without putting
Yeah.
But
okay, shout out to... Okay,
Janet
please.
on Twitter for the first time. I'm taking this one from Twitter. Her name is Janet and she's wishing her husband Kingsley happy 45th birthday.
Wow. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm surprised they even sent it to me because me that I hardly remember. But engineer Chuku, from his wife, today's his birthday. Happy birthday, engineer Chuku. Your wife sent this message to you. Then from Mr. Tunde Mushaku and his daughter, they're wishing his wife Adekweju Mushaku also happy birthday to you. Today's Esther Musokpe Oluwa. She's 20 today. Happy birthday to you. I also have from Kalisa, from Belinda Quadri, her daughter's birthday is today. That's Kalisa Quadri. And I also have from Farida Badamosi, her mother's birthday, Mrs. Mulikat Badamosi. Happy birthday all today. Many happy returns to you.
Danielle Jesu Toby Pedro, who turns 5 from her mother.
Oh.
Okay, yes.
You like those little kids.
I can sort of miss that.
They have to run,
Asim Zinas Joshua, wishing himself a happy birthday and asking the ladies to wish him.
Lots of March people. Interesting.
Yes, March
all right.
is interesting.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be
be right back.
Okay, let's start with the punch. Nigerians will be shocked by those behind schoolgirls' abduction, says Matawale. Grieving family tackles Lagos hospital over mechanic's death. NDLA arrests Algeria-bound trafficker with 1 billion naira worth of cocaine. JAM to announce sale of 2021-2022 form next week. There were plots to kidnap my children during consolidation, says Soludo. And Tinubu Buhari weren't arrested for demanding Jonathan's resignation, says Falana. Okay, let's start with the major headline. Did they finally mention the person? Because then they got this.
So, you know, while receiving the 17 emirs that visited him to commiserate on the kidnap of the girls in Zamfara, the governor was saying, you know, just like someone thinking.
Taking deep breaths.
That you'll be shocked. Nigerians will be shocked at the people behind. I think when you have suggestions like that, DSS and all of them should start to take such information as intelligence and work on them. Maybe it will give us a pointer to this. And the president has also said this will be the last of such kidnapping.
We'll be holding you to that, sir.
But in addition to that, when he said that we'll be shocked to find out who's behind it, but he was also trying to allude to, insinuate that because he has a peace accord with bandits, that these are people, maybe another faction or a group of persons or someone out there that's trying to sabotage that particular peace accord. And he's saying that he's going to, you know, make sure that he upholds that peace accord, and we'll be surprised to find out who.
Anyways,
this
the mechanic that died.
Yes, the mechanic. His name is Elijah Popola. His family has accused the hospital, the General Hospital Akodo, that's on the Lekki Ekpe Expressway, of negligence and, you know, medical negligence and carelessness in managing him. So this young man had been in a car accident with his friend. The friend suffered minor injuries. He had, you know, major fractures to his legs and a brain injury, and a head injury. We suggested that he had, you know, internal hemorrhage, but then the hospital just handled it like every other one. Then we referred him to General Hospital on Lagos Island, but he didn't make it there because they couldn't also provide ambulance. They couldn't also, you know, provide a nurse to accompany the van that the family later hired, and they made his employer, his manager, buy every single thing he was used to be stabilized, and they still didn't even stabilize him. It's supposedly a general hospital, so it's been reported.
All right, we have to move on, but I was going to quickly mention the young man, 36-year-old. He was actually on his way to Algeria. He had 1 billion naira worth of cocaine with him, and he was stopped in Sokoto en route. So he was actually on a bike. So, and his name is, I think, Nkem Timothy, alias Awalu Audu, and he's been arrested by the NDLEA there, and hopefully the investigation will come about. Okay, let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune. Pope prays for girls. Buhari assures this will be the last. Ndumetu Buhari signed executive order on unexplained wealth. NDLEA arrests suspect with $1 billion worth of cocaine. Nigerians panic over possible fuel price hike. FG to prioritize frontline healthcare workers as 3.92 million doses of COVID-19 arrive tomorrow. Why passengers shun $194 million Abuja Metro Rail service?
Okay, let me take the vaccine story.
Yes.
So, PTF on COVID-19, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, with excitement say that on the 2nd of March, we should be expecting to get delivery of the initial 4 million doses that will be coming to us, and that they gave, they said 1st of March at 10:30 p.m. it will be leaving India, so they're expecting it in Abuja 2nd of March, barring any issues with the delivery. And they've gone ahead to say that this is just, you know, the initial one. They're expecting another 16 million, enough to handle 20%, you know, vaccinate 20% of Nigerians. We're also expecting the one from Ava, that's about 41 million doses. That's AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. They also said everything that needs to be done to receive delivery, that's the cold chain facilities, training of healthcare workers, and also government is saying that healthcare workers will be the first people who will get this vaccination. So that's what we are.
Senator Alim Dume, you know, started this clamor for the president to sign an executive order on unexplained wealth. He's simply asking us to domesticate the unexplained wealth Act of the British people, which makes it compulsory for targeted people to explain the sources of income. We had a topic on Friday where we kept wondering where monies are coming from for big men. If we're truly fighting corruption in Nigeria, this is one act that should be older than they now. The present EFCC boss, when he was being screened, was also talking about how the EFCC Act allows them to investigate people like this. And we would expect that this thing should be normal.
So it's like a random pick of rich person and say, okay, tell us how you got this money.
As soon as, there's a reason to suspect, the person will come and explain that these are my sources of income and this is how I'm arrived.
All right, moving on very quickly now to Daily Sun. Confusion over fates of Zamfara school girls. Uzodinma Okrocha renew their fights. We talked about the vaccine already. Let's find a story we've not mentioned. Vigilante rescues kidnapped travelers in Oando. Panic in Abuja as herders trespass boarding schools. Ethnicity, religious bias, fueling insecurity, says National Assembly. And JAM institutions set June 15th deadline for 2020-2021 admissions. Okay, which story are we taking? We've talked about the vaccine already.
There were about 7 victims who were kidnapped. A vigilante group had come across an empty bus. So once they saw the bus, it raised suspicion that they may have just abducted people. And they went into the forest. And luckily for them, they found them. The kidnappers, they had a shootout with the vigilante group. They shot one died. The rest of them escaped with gunshot wounds, but the 7 victims were rescued. So thank you to them.
But
well done.
So the main headline, the girls,
the girls.
The rumor over the weekend was totally unnecessary that they had been rescued. All of us are started to relax, only to hear this morning that they're still negotiating the release of the girls.
Okay, our final paper this morning, Vanguard. Zamfara. Abductors will be last, says Buhari. Right of way, FG demolishes shanties, illegal structures along the Olodi-Apapa Expressway. Botched arrest, Sunday Igboho accuses Yoruba leaders. Generating more revenue for economic growth. And CBN plans to strengthen Naira economy through $15 billion Dangote refinery. So
the Apapa Oshodi, not Olodi Apapa, the headline in the...
Was in error?
The front page was misleading, but inside the story is the Oshodi Apapa, particularly what we call the Toyota bus stop on the Oshodi Apapa Expressway, just by the airports there. The federal government is insisting that those shanties have to leave. But, let me even quote him. One of the... marketers or supposed user of that place, Martins Obidiozo, a manager of Unity Warehouse, said they were served notice truly to vacate, and but they had nowhere to move their wares, so that was why they left their wares outside. And leaving their wares outside, exceeding the capacity of their warehouses, is why we suffer some form of traffic on that side of town. But they are used to doing these things. Right. And the federal government gave them notice. They cleared some of the wares and said every of those people using that area must come and sign an undertaking not to leave their wares on the road anymore, so that construction and beautification of that area can happen. You can't exceed your capacity.
But we should use this opportunity to also understand. Tell us about that area now, because MP and Lagos State government have worked. They are working now.
Balaus, man. Let me just greet you this, because I like to take it from the female point of view. Yes. Because until you reach there that we got Celeste. So I was crying last week that because they're a victim, people are now on our side of it. But this morning, even Mark was telling me your route is clear.
Imagine that.
I drove on the service lane all the way to Mount.
Somebody posted something that in years he has not gotten home in 15 minutes. He got home in 15 minutes. He was shocked. He had to post it. I mean, this is how you can see how much man hours he has lost. The emotional drain he has experienced for years.
Health and everything. On Saturday, he was still crazy on our side of town because we were trying to find places to park. But this morning, I just came out. I was expecting the usual. You'll see one or two broken down, some that are trying to fix, but it was normal.
All right, we have to run. Was there a story you wanted to take? Yes.
CBN is saying that through the refinery, the Dangote refinery, that we hope to see an improved Nigerian economy and also, of course, an improved value of our Naira. And that is because they will be selling the crude in Naira to the refinery. Refinement will be done. Prices will fall. Costs that goes into importation, demurrage, all those things would not be there anymore. So we're going to be saving about 41% of our foreign exchange. So it looks all good for our economy and our Naira.
We're waiting.
I think they're still working on it.
You should kick off yesterday, please.
That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we move on to our topics for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, according to reports, last December, Pastor Bulos Yakuru of EYN Church was abducted when terrorists attacked the Pemi village in Borno State and killed no fewer than 7 people. The pastor has been in custody of the Abubakar Shekau-led faction of Boko Haram since December last year. On Wednesday, February 24th, he was reportedly given a 1-week ultimatum before he was released, and certain demands were made by Boko Haram. Now, we're calling on the government, therefore, to please ensure their intervention and ensure the safety of this man back to his family. You read the reports. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, it's really sad because, every time you see stories like this and you just hope, here we have the conversations of whether you pay ransom, you don't pay ransom, what form of negotiation is actually going on, who has an upper hand. Our prayer is that our government and our security outfits, our military is able to curtail this. But the truth and reality is that their fathers, their daughters, their children that are held by these people, and all the family wants is for them to be saved. So we're asking for Pastor Yakuru, for the students also that were taken in Zamfara State, that the government should do all it can to bring these people back home safely. I mean, they're still there, Sharibu. So our prayer is that, these people are saved and brought home, and rescued, and brought home safely.
So I wouldn't, based on past experience, want to doubt the threats. There was once when we had such threats in the past, and we dealt with it with kid gloves and saw videos surfacing of actual shooting and killing of Nigerians that were taken hostage. And so when the one for Leah Sharibu came towards the end of the year last year, and now this Professor Pastor Bulus, it worried me. I completely went into serious nightmares, wondering, are we going to see another video like that? Is government going to allow this happen? I know that they keep insisting they are doing their best, but it won't be your best if it ends up in death of any Nigerian. Your best is that, at whatever cost we get a Nigerian out of there. We saw how the US of A came to pull stunts in our own very war-torn area to rescue their own citizens. And within the areas that we are supposed to give them intelligence on, areas that we're supposed to know, these kind of things happen. I would like to plead with the new service chiefs that, if anything at all, rescuing this man will give us some form of confidence in them now, to trust them that, the change was worth it. So they should please use this as a yardstick to prove something.
Many people are looking onto these new service chiefs to actually perform. And somebody has said that it's going to be like a litmus test for them to see if indeed they're going to be very effective going forward. Now, moving on to the issue of abduction. According to United Nations, the country has over 10.5 million out-of-school children, highest in the world. 1 out of every 5 out-of-school child is a Nigerian. Schools and hostels in many parts of the northern region are being shut down, and parents are scared. They are quite apprehensive about what's going to happen to their children. They're worried about the mental state of the pupils and the staff, the fear of possible abduction. And even recently, in the papers this morning, was in the papers that parents, especially in the government girls' college in Abuja, FCT, Kashi, and other schools, they're worried about the porosity of the environment, and this is a cause for concern. So joining us this morning is Professor of Guiding and Counseling, former Dean of Faculty of the Education at the University of Lagos, Professor Mopelola Omuegon. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show, ma.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. So we are quite worried about the continuous state of insecurity in our schools. And it's almost as though we've not really addressed the measure of impact these insecurity would have on education at large. I would like you to give us some kind of insight as to what we are losing by the increased insecurity, especially in schools, where we have children continually being kidnapped under this government?
Thank you very much. You see, we all look at children as our future. And it's very unfortunate, the kind of situation we are experiencing and witnessing in Nigeria now. How our school children are being abducted. And, you know, when we talk of abduction, the effect is bound to be long-lasting. Because these children who have been abducted or those who are going to be abducted, we pray it won't happen again. But then, these things come up unawares. People are not expecting it. Children are meant to be educated in school, you know, to develop their intellect. But when things happen suddenly that are life-threatening, of course, it's bound to affect them emotionally, intellectually, and physically in some instances. You know, instead of children being focusing their attention on the academic achievements, now they are thinking more or less about what's going to happen to them. The next minute, nobody is sure who's going to be next. And those who are abducted, of course, you know, this kind of experiences affect them emotionally. So the intellectual ability they are supposed to develop in school is being affected, eroded. And if somebody is living under kind of threats, of course, he cannot think effectively. At least the achievements we're expecting from them are not going to be, you know, maximum. They are not going to be able to put in their very best because they are thinking of what's going to happen to them next.
Right.
So once they are abducted, they are even rescued. The harm has been done.
Right.
So they are going through some traumatic experiences which are about to affect them. Some can be, you know, throughout life.
Right. Okay.
So let's talk about, you know.
We are yes.
Okay. The Nigerians in certain areas had certain fears about education in the past, and you know, we're trying everything as a country to boost their confidence in sending kids to school before the attacks happened. So the government had to, when the Chibok girls were kidnapped, the government had to start what they call the Safe Schools Initiative in Nigeria. Can you tell us how, you know, we progressed after the Safe School Initiative and how it's failed us now that, you know, they've gone back to picking kids off school?
After the Safe School, the campaign and everything, after that, people, you know, tend to build up their confidence initially. But when we started coming up, so nobody is sure of anything. So the feeling of insecurity, uncertainties are bound to affect the development, even the development of the children. When somebody is, you know, feeling insecure, there's nothing much he or she can do in terms of concentration span. These are young ones. And when they're affected, emotional spirit of fear comes upon them. What can they do? So that's why some of us are worried. I believe every woman in Nigeria should be worried about the situation in the country now. The feeling of insecurity that what will happen next? So which set of children will be attacked next? Nobody is sure.
Right, okay.
And so this feeling of...
Right.
Yeah?
Okay, ma, you know, something I find interesting is when the pandemic, when, you know, outbreak happened, there was an immediate conversation about lockdown, closing down schools and sending kids back home, you know, to protect them from this and also to stop the spread of the disease. But then we have continuous kidnapping of children, and even though I do not think that we should lock kids at home, I just don't see that same effort in protecting students that are going through this all the time. Parents are thrown into turmoil and anguish. You know, they are scared that they're sending their children into a war zone, sort of, because you just never know what may happen. What would be the best advice you would give government concerning the state that we're in now?
I think everybody is conscious of the need for security, and we cannot overplay that. It can never be overemphasized. So I want to urge our government to stop playing lip service to security, especially of these children, in-school children. They should mount up the security system that we have, especially in those areas. There are some areas that I would say are, like the targets of these kidnappers. It's not as rampant down here in the south. But where people know that the Boko Haram strikes anytime, unexpectedly, they should mount up security. I've always said this. We are playing lip service as if we don't know where these people are. People have identified the areas they are in, the locations. So why are we playing lip service? The security system should focus their attention on that and make sure that our students are well secured in their various schools.
Right.
Let them deploy security officers all around those schools.
Right.
And they should mount up, 24 hours vigilance.
All right, Ma.
On such schools.
Finally with you, Ma. So for the children that are back home, how best can we counsel them to, find themselves after this ordeal they've gone through? How would you advise the schools and the parents and the guardians to help these children, get their emotional strength back to normal so that they can at least learn?
Okay, thank you very much. That's our job as counselors. When I was the president of the Association of Professional Counselors in Nigeria, I used to emphasize the need for schools to have full-time counselors. In fact, only one is not enough. We have a ratio whereby you have counselors who will handle like 300, 400 students maximum. In some cases, 250. Because their emotional status has to be upgraded. We need to help these children who have been adopted before to build up their self-confidence so that they can even trust the people around them. At times, the spirit of fear comes upon them, and they find it difficult to trust people. So, counseling, we call it a psychological process of helping people. If teachers are also trained, they could assist the counselors to be close to these children, one-on-one talking, organize group counseling sessions for them, get them to appreciate the fact that they are wanted. Some people like them, some people love them. I want you to be well with them. And some people are ready to give them the best in life. Right. So gradually, we can build their confidence and help them to adjust to life.
All right.
So that's what counseling is all about. Yeah.
Well. Thank you very much, Madam, for joining us this morning. We appreciate you. We've been speaking with the Professor of Guidance and Counseling, University of Lagos, Dean of Faculty Education of University of Lagos, Professor Pupil. Let's go on a break now. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, it's more than a month since the widely celebrated appointment of the service chiefs. But it appears there is no respite from the devastating activities of Boko Haram in the northeast to banditry and rustling in the northwest and north central and now southwest. Joining us on the show is a member of the House of Representatives from Jerry Federal Constituency, Honorable Satomi Hamad. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Good morning.
Okay. You can also join the conversation on 081-270-53687. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your VTVC so we can read your tweets. Honorable, it's good to have you on the show. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So
good morning, all of you.
We are quite worried about the increased insecurity in the land, and many of us celebrated the new appointment of the service chiefs. More worsening is the fact that pupils of schools have been abducted in recent times, and parents are really, really worried about the porosity of the schools, especially the government schools where children are there. We have the government secondary schools across the states, especially in Abuja, Niger State, and all that. And many parents are worried about the fact that there are no fences around their campuses. There's no security. In your view, how do you think the service chiefs can begin to demonstrate their readiness to protect not just the pupils, but the Nigerian citizens?
Thank you. You know, there was a time I said on similar program like this that changing the service chief is only one factor. And then there are other things to be done by the government also. That is looking at the entire security architecture, the operation, and how to curtail all such kind of atrocities that are committed by the bandits and other terrorist groups across Nigeria. But the service chiefs are new, and they have to settle down and look at things. Despite we know they are in the theater operation, most of them have the requisite experience. But definitely they need other supports, particularly in terms of the other sister security formations, particularly the Nigerian police, and then the other border patrol, the customs, and other things to watch how these weapons are coming. And then in the security system, there must be a new strategy, as I said earlier. Without deploying new strategy, there is no way you can handle this security situation. And you cannot copy from other countries or other places for you or for a security formation to think that they will solve such problems. So if you look at them entirely, I feel it's like the Nigerian security are being overstretched. Overstretched in the sense that today you will hear banditry, tomorrow you will hear Boko Haram attack. And then how many recruitments were there in the first couple of years? How many people have been absorbed to the system and trained on such things? How many new equipment, contemporary equipment, tools are being deployed to this system? These are all questions to look into. If you look at the issue of the banditry, the only new things we saw in a quest to end this struggle is the Gumi-led team to meet the banditry and come up with another idea. But this is only one option. Apart from the forces, we need the president, as they ask, to talk to them, to come out and to show an action, an intention that this what is going on must be end. If not, I think it will still take us a long time for us to see the end of this crisis.
Okay, so just yesterday, the Senate Committee Chair on Army and Security was Senator Ali Ndume was saying that the budget of 212 billion is small for security for the army compared to what the issues are on ground. Do you agree with him, and what would you suggest would be the percentage that we put on for our budget on security?
I totally agree with him, and the budget is not that adequate. Not even the budget, the funding process. But the truth of the matter is that are the bandits and the Boko Haram more equipped than our own security? Are they having more resources than our own security? So the question is no. So therefore, we must use what we have to solve the impending situation at hand. And this requires the political will of all the leaders, all the stakeholders in the system.
Okay, sir. You mentioned a few things that may be the reason why our service chiefs were yet to see their impact. And you say, first of all, that they are new and they need a time for adjustment. One thing that these service chiefs do not have is time for adjustment. And of course, we're aware that they have been part of the military, worked together with the past service chiefs. So they are very clear on what strategies have been used, what has failed, and what should be working. So for me, my question is, could the war against insurgency and terrorism, maybe it doesn't lie with arms and ammunition. Maybe it's what a lot of people are talking about, ethnicity, religious bias, poverty, unemployment. Are those not the problems that need to be addressed as quickly as possible? And then we would see military intervention work.
That's what I was saying. First of all, it's too early for us to judge the service chief. But to me, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, these are personal people I know that they have the capacity. If you look at the statement issued by General Atahiru last week in Maiduguri, and it's encouraging. This is the first time we had such a service chief that's saying he's giving an ultimatum of certain period to capture Marte, and this is what we are expecting to see in all parts of the country. So therefore, it's too early for us to judge them because they have to sit down, prepare, but we have seen, we have hope. Nigerians are looking forward to them, and I'm very much sure they can do it, particularly with the way things are going. Some of the things are not have to be said on such public forum, but I'm very much sure the new set of service chiefs can perform better with the spirit they are, with the plans they presented to the National Assembly, with the questions they answered while we are screening them. We have asked them all such questions that Nigerians are asking. When the crisis will end, how will you do with the super camp if we take Boko Haram into cognizance? And for kidnapping, banditry, I think it's high time, as I said earlier, we need to adopt a technology. Because if these banditry are coming, there must be a communication. And we have to get gadgets that will intercept such communication proactively so that our securities will be on top to arrest the situation. And then, to your second question, it's true that government, particularly the executives, must address the remote causes of such problems. We cannot descend from saying that poverty is one factor, unemployment is one factor, ethnicity is one factor, religion. So all these things have to be addressed squarely. And without addressing such things, definitely we will not see an end to such menace and atrocities in our country.
All right,
but this one must lay within the critical stakeholders, from governors to the National Assembly to the executive arm of government. But the prime is the presidency to do the needful by oversighting and to ensure that money appropriated for all such projects are being utilized judiciously and in accordance with the Constitution of the Nigeria. If not, all these things will take us a longer period for us to see the end. And at the end of the day, we will not see Nigeria of our hope.
Honorable, let me come to you as a layman, because a layman would see the entire security situation and say, listen, if I know nothing about the security architecture, I know two things. I know that these bandits kidnap people on the highways. I know that many of these also go to schools, government colleges, to kidnap children. This trend has been on for a while. So as a layman, I'm thinking, okay, maybe the security operatives should find ways either to secure the perimeters of these schools, number one, build their fences, get operatives around the schools and government schools, that's one. And the highways should be properly secured, where we have people, army, on the roads, entering the bushes. That for me is what a layman would think to see, to demonstrate that you are actually on top of this. So in your view, does it even make any sense that we are not seeing activities around these areas that have been almost prone to insecurity?
As a layman, actually, if you are right to say such things, but always that's why the government, as I'm saying, must act proactively to defend the common man. Because the common man is not after changing the service chief, ammunition, or something else, that, as you say, but they want to see results. We are all product of, if you take school for instance, we are all product of public schools. And today, if the public schools are not safe, definitely a lot of people will be discouraged. And then the problem will increase, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Without the school, even with the school, without quality education, this problem is increasing. So therefore, what I am saying is that we must address the remote causes of such problems. And as we must act fast as a government to work for Nigerians for what they are yearning and expecting from the leaders. For example, what I am saying is, today, in the Northwest, none of the government, particularly boarding school, that the parent will be secured. Therefore, government has to come up with a new strategy that will secure the school, will secure the forest, will secure the highway. And then this thing cannot be possible without recruiting more people into the system, particularly at the grassroots level in the forest, maybe to reactivate the forest guards that we normally have in this country, which has been abandoned for long now, and then to provide basic amenities of life, such as education, health, water infrastructure, etc., etc. So
Right.
without addressing the remote cause of this problem, we're going to suffer, and it
Right.
will take us a longer period for
Right, let me
us.
get a few
And
more
this
questions
thing
in for you,
completely lies. Pardon?
Let me get a few more questions in for you. We have quite a short
Okay,
time here.
so, sir, earlier in the first term of President Muhammadu Buhari, we saw him form some form of alliances with our neighbors, the Benin Republic, Niger, Cameroon, and Togo, you know, to beef up security around our borders so that when these bandits or insurgents try to escape over there, would, you know, be able to keep them in the middle and, you know, clear them once and for all. What happened to the alliances, and why they suddenly, you know, relaxed on this particular method of solving the problem?
I think it do exist, the MNJTF you are talking about, the Multinational Joint Task Force. That's why I told you that I have much more confidence with the new service chiefs, particularly the CDS, General Loki Irabo, who happens to be head of the MNJTF before. And then he has the experience, and I know something is on the pipeline to re-strengthening this thing. This is one of the commitments the Chief of Defense Staff gave us while he was with the Senate and the House of Reps for screening. So therefore, I am very much sure the MNJTF will soon be in place and active, and also not only the MNJTF. There is one thing we suggest to the CDS, if at least they can do, they should reactivate the Joint Task Force operation. That is include a formation of customs, police, immigration, all our paramilitary should be put in together so that the operation will be coordinated. Our borders will be secured. There is going to be an easy access for liaison and communication, and above all, synergy between the paramilitary and our military forces. And then within the defense system, the synergy between the military, the air force, the navy, and the rest. So therefore, I am very much sure with the way they presented their plans to us, Nigeria will see better. Okay. But this issue of bandits, we must deploy technology, we must involve critical stakeholders, and we must exploit all avenues, particularly if there is an avenue for dialogue must be utilized. If there is need for the leaders to come out and talk and act proactively, we must rise up to the expectations of Nigerians, because the common man cannot wait to your strategy, cannot wait to your plans. They just want to see an action. And action in a sense that if they say anything, they are right. Because these are kind of campaign promises this government made to common man in Nigeria before voting out PDP and bringing it APC. Right. And now it's 6 years. We haven't seen the expectation. So therefore, we must address all the security issues, direct and indirect. Direct in terms of operation with the army, military. Indirectly in terms of providing basic amenities for the common man, protecting the common man's basic requirement of health, education to the children.
Let me get in one question for you, Honorable.
For them to go to their farm.
Yes.
Yeah, so Honorable, there are two states, you know, that have just very recently have suffered abductions of school children. There's Zamfara State and there's Niger State. Zamfara State, on one hand, is insisting on maintaining a peace accord with these bandits. And it believes that in that agreement, it will protect, you know, that state from further kidnappings. But it does not seem like it's working. And then we have Niger State that has been very vocal on not negotiating with terrorists. And we've heard through conversations with Sheikh Gumi that, you know, they were making fun of Niger State, that you're a small fry compared to Zamfara, and you have to do so. Which state would you say is doing it right, or which state is doing it wrong as per negotiations with bandits?
I think I said we must exploit all the available avenues. If you are dealing with terrorism, banditry, of such magnitude, definitely whatever you think it will going to give you solution, you must utilize it. You can do the negotiation on one side, as well as the security forces can do their work. But you must imbibe the culture of technology. You cannot solve your problem without even identifying what is your problem. First, if you look at Niger, Niger is the largest state in terms of landmark in Nigeria. And then they shared border virtually with all these northwestern states that are still forced for such banditry. But believe me, if the governor says that he cannot negotiate, I am suspecting, let's call spade a spade. The first abduction, they said there was no ransom. But I and you, we know definitely something has happened. But they don't want to come and say the truth. If nothing has happened, these people cannot go and repeat it again and will give you for what? What is their benefit? All of us know that once they abduct, they are asking for ransom, and they are doing this thing because they are earning something. That is the explanation the governor of Kaduna is giving, that these banditry are not people to trust. But with trusting them or with entrusting them, he gave an example that a Fulani man that received 1 million naira as a ransom, you cannot negotiate with him. Somebody that he doesn't have an access to 200,000 before, now has an access to 1 million naira. This is a statement coming from the Kaduna State Governor. And then looking at, they are repeating this thing for the first one, for the second one. So definitely something is wrong somewhere. Something is happening somewhere.
I have to question for yourself because we have to run. But I cannot let you go without asking this question Nigerians have been asking for years. What is taking you so long to establish the state policing that everybody has been clamoring for? Your people have been saying, everybody in Nigeria say, listen, we need to decentralize this policing. We cannot police from one source. Why is it taking so long for the National Assembly to agree and pass this bill into law?
I think taking police, state policing or not, all has its own advantage and disadvantage. It has advantage in terms of the states will have control of their own police and they will work so that to secure. But where is the resource? Where is the funding coming? And then the disadvantage is that some are even scared that the politician might use the same state police during election. But to me, all is the same. If what I am after is let Nigerians sit down to look at the funding of the Nigerian police. In view of
these circumstances where people are dying, do you think that argument still holds water, sir? Honorable, in view of people are dying now, do you think this argument of, oh, they're going to use it for political benefits, does it still hold water?
Yes. Listen to me. The Nigerian police is the most underfunded force in the whole of West Africa. Looking at our number, 200 million people, what is the ratio of a police to a citizen of Nigeria? So first, let's have proper funding for the Nigerian police. Let's recruit more based on federal character through federalism. Then it's the same thing as you are having a state police. You have the police commissioner in each state, and they are answerable to the governors, most of them. So therefore, I see no reason why we will advocate. Let's fund the police we have now, train them, retrain them, equip them, give them the basic requirements. If their number is enough, they can work.
All right.
But look at the ratio of Nigerian police at the federal level to the population of Nigerians. First and foremost, let's have the required number of police at the federal level.
Okay.
Are they properly funded? Are they properly trained? What are the medium for recruitment? Are they reflecting the federal character? Is it true federalism is there? So these are kind of the things that we need to see first in the Nigerian police force to fund them, to recruit them. But I am very much sure funding is one of the major issues in Nigerian police now. Funding.
Right. We have to run,
so without
Thank you very much, Honorable.
the Nigerian police, I don't think we can achieve this thing. Thank you very much.
We'll be speaking with the representative from Jere Federal Constituency, Honorable Satomi Ahmad. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
James says minimum wage is a benchmark within the Nigerian territory that should be determined by the federal government, with states negotiating on the basis of that minimum. And then Festus Akimboye was, he's saying, he's asking why the Honorable is not also sponsoring a bill to look into the cutting of salaries and allowances of those in the National Assembly. Yes.
We have to run, unfortunately, but I think many have said that, listen, many states have been telling the labor that I can't afford to pay this salary because I don't have that kind of revenue. I have debts. I have a huge wage bill, and we're saying that empower these states by allowing them generate resources from their natural amenities that they have.
Mariah, so I was just trying to say that it's best, that last question that I think he sort of misunderstood, that we should have a minimum wage determined by federal government, and just like this Twitter person says, and then we have an extra or whatever added per state, what the state can now, yes, because...
Okay, so each labor, you're saying that
if we
federal government should determine it,
yes,
and labor within states can then try to get an increment of that on that amount.
I think
and
that
would help. Paying higher, we'll not get an influx from all over the state.
But it's still dependent
influx
on...
of labor, do you understand?
It depends on the strength of
a stronger economy.
We have to run, unfortunately. That's all we can take. Thank you so much, ladies. All right, enjoy the rest of the day. Happy New Month, they say. See you tomorrow.
Things be easy for us in the market.
Oh, Auntie Sonia! Hey,
Auntie Sonia,
happy birthday, Auntie Sonia!
75th birthday.
75th birthday. Auntie Sonia, God bless you.